Welcome back to BCU Freshman Class series, where we'll be teaching you the most important building blocks of ham radio. This freshman series is for those just getting into the hobby for the first time who might not know where to begin. In these videos, we cover broad topics in terms you can understand so that you can start your ham radio journey on a stable foundation. At this point in the series, we have gone over all the certifications you'll need and helped you pick out your very first radio. But today, we'll show you the one final step to getting on the air and making that first contact. My name is Cody W3AMG, and today I'll be showing you how to program your radio to work with both repeater systems and a SkyBridge Plus digital hotspot so you can operate at maximum efficiency when making contacts. Let's get started. Alrighty, so first we are going to connect to our local repeater, so it's about 5 or 10 miles up the road here in Trimble, Missouri. So I've got the radio here completely reinitialized, so I've turned it on. Now I'm going to go ahead and press confirm. We'll get that set up here. Now take your programming cable, plug one side into your computer and the other side into the radio. So if we turn the radio around, there's a little flap on the side. We can just easily open this up, just like that, and plug the programming cable into it, just like so. Perfect. Now we are going to jump over here to our computer. So first step on the computer, you want to open up a web browser, and we are going to download the software for our radio. So go to bridgecomsystems.com. Perfect. So when we are here, you want to click on the support tab. Now from support, you're going to scroll down until you find the kind of radio that you have. So in this case, we have an AnyTone 878 UV2 Plus. There we go, CPS and firmware downloads for the 878 UV2 Plus. We'll click on that. Awesome, so there's the current version. We are going to click on that and go ahead and download the software, and then I'll show you how to install it. Great, so we have the software saved to our desktop. So it's going to come in a zip file. You want to go ahead and right click on that file and then extract all. So it's going to extract those items here. Awesome, so we have the file open. Now at this point we can really get rid of this zip file. We don't need it anymore. Now this folder is going to house the software. So you want to open that up just by double clicking on it. And then you want to find the folder that says CPS, Customer Programming Software. So go ahead and click on that, double click. And now we're going to double click on this again to install it. Great, so just go ahead and click on More Info, and then Run Anyway. Now if it gives you this message here, you just want to select Yes. There we go, and that's going to allow it to run. Then go ahead and select your language, and follow the setup wizard. Now there is an important step here. You want to make sure this is set to your C drive. C as in Charlie. It may try to select a different drive. You just want to make sure it's on the C drive. Perfect. Next. I like to check create a desktop icon. We'll keep going and then hit install. So while that's installing, don't forget to like our videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on any more great content like this. All right, so we're going to launch the application now. So just click Finish. Perfect, so we have the software installed. Now that we have our radio connected up, make sure it's plugged in and switched on. Go ahead and open up your software, which we've done, and then select this icon here. This is our COM port settings, so we can go ahead and select the radio. Now if you see multiple things in this list, the way you verify the correct one is you just have the radio unplugged, open this up, and then when you plug it in, you will see it pop up, and whatever one pops up as the most recent thing, just go ahead and click on that and select it. Now at this point, we always want to read from the radio. So click on the button to the left up top, and then click OK. And at this point, we're just going to read the other data. Now the reason we read from the radio first is if you don't, most likely you'll end up with a band error and you're not going to be able to write to the radio. So you could do a lot of work in the CPS, build your code plug, and then find out you can't actually use it. Perfect, so we've read from the radio. Now at this point, we can start building our code plug, but we need a little bit of information first. So go ahead and open up a web browser, and let's go find out the information for our local repeater. So the way I like to do this is go to repeaterbook.com. So once you are here, go ahead and select your location. So we're going to go North American Repeaters. And then Missouri. And we'll click on let's see, DMR. We want a DMR repeater. Now at this point, we can search for a local one. Now I know what mine is called, so I'm just going to do a Control F and search for it. So the KCI repeater, which is up in Trimble, Missouri. So now we just click on the frequency over here on the left. And at this point, we can see all of the information. So this is a good time to grab yourself some pen and paper and write down this information. So the uplink and downlink frequencies, we will need them, the color code, and then finally the time slot. So we've got the downlink of 444-4625 and an uplink of 449-4625. So what down and uplink frequencies are, downlink is going to be coming down from the repeater to your radio, and uplink is going from your radio up to the repeater. So, you know, in the eyes of the radio, it's going to be different than in the eyes of the repeater, but uplink and downlink completely simplify that. Repeaters are always high up. Typically, radios are low down on the ground. So uplink and downlink is a great way to understand what those are. So we've got that written down, color code 4. We have that. And then it says in the notes, use time slot 1 for all other Brandmeister talk groups. So that is what we want. So we're going to use time slot 1. Perfect. So we have our repeater information. Now we need to get our actual information ourselves. So in a previous segment, you remember we actually got our call sign. So I have my call sign, that's W3AMG. And then I got my radio ID, so I already have that written down. But in case you don't, or you've forgotten it, I tend to forget mine, go to radioid.net. And then click on Database. And from here, click on DMR User ID Search. And at that point, just type in your call sign. Just like that. And there we go. We have our DMR ID. Perfect. So we have all of the information at this point that we need to set up our information on the repeater. Now, you probably want to find a few talk groups as well. So let's do a search for that. Okay, so I typically use this website here to find the Brandmeister talk groups. So we have a few here. Now you can do a search. Let's say I want to search for Missouri. I could search for the Missouri talk group. You can find almost any talk group in here. It's a great reference. Now there is a way to import the entire list, but in this video we're just going to add a few of them. So I've got a few talk groups picked out here. We'll do the Missouri. We'll do the Parrot. Perfect. And then let's see, what else could we do? Worldwide, talk group 91, and then disconnect is talk group 4000. So the essentials, you want to make sure you have talk group 4000, the disconnect, and I would recommend having the Parrot on there, which is 9909 to test, and then everything else is up to you. So let's go back here. We have our information. Now we're going to go into the CPS and start building. Awesome, so we can go ahead and get rid of the original channels here if we want to. So I'm just gonna delete these real quick. Awesome, so we'll open this one up here, and the receive frequency, that's receive for the radio. So that's gonna be the downlink since we're going down to the radio from the repeater. So downlink is 444.4625. And transmit, that's uplink, is 449.4625. Awesome. Now we want to make this digital, since this is a DMR repeater. We're going to hit select turbo because it can be a little bit difficult to reach it from here inside of this building. So make sure everything else is correct. Now over here we have our color code. We know that's 4. time slot. We want time slot 1, that's correct. And perfect. So we have, let me see, we also want to make sure, there's one more setting on here we want to make sure of. DMR mode, you want to make sure that's set to repeater. Simplex, this is not going to work properly for you if you have it set to something else, so make sure that's set to repeater. Now at this point, this is where you would select your contact. So we need to go add some of those contacts. So we'll say OK here. Let's add our information to this. So open up the digital tab on the left-hand side, and then click on Radio ID List. And double click on one of these boxes here. This is where you will add your information. So we'll type in our DMR number. And then our first name and call sign. Say OK. Great. And now at this point, we're going to add our talk groups. So go to the talk group list here and double click on that. Okay, so we'll give them a name. We'll do the parent. Well, actually first, I think we have to have a group call in here. So we'll do Missouri and give it a number. Awesome. Now group call is what you want for talk groups that you're talking with other people. Now for like the private call, such as the parrot, you want that to be set as private call. So we'll say OK. Enter the parrot. Switch that over to private call. 9990. Disconnect. I don't know if this matters. Don't believe it matters, but we're going to go ahead and do a private call on this. We'll make that 4,000. And then finally worldwide. Make that a group call and enter the number, which is 91. Perfect, so now we have our talk groups entered. So now at this point, we can go back over here to our channels and create a few of these and add the talk groups. So we'll double click on this one, and we see it now has a contact in here. So we'll make this the Missouri talk group. We'll give it a name, MO, that'll work for this. And perfect, so we are good to go there. Now what we can do is just right click on this and copy, and then just do a Control V to paste, and we'll make a few of these. There we go. Now you can just double click on this, and we'll change our talk group. So we'll make this one the disconnect. Perfect. And open this up. Change our contact to the, we'll go worldwide. Great, say OK. And what do we have left? Missouri disconnect. So we need the parrot. Select the parrot. And say OK, so perfect. Now we have all of those in place here, and I just went through those pretty fast, but with the first one, you saw how all of that process worked. If you need to go through that again, feel free to pause or rewind the video. So we have all of those here now. Now at this point, we are pretty much set. We want to change a few settings. So open up the optional settings, and we're going to go into work mode. Now, right now it displays the frequency. The problem with this is that we're not actually going to be able to see the name of our channel. And since the frequencies are all the same, we would kind of be in hot water if we got out there and tried to change the channel if we wouldn't know what we're looking for. So go ahead and change that to channel. And then personal preference, I like to have sub-channel turned off, but that's totally up to you. That's just going to make either show one channel or two channels at the same time. I just like to see the one, but you can set this up however you'd like. And now if we go into display, let's see, or power on. Where's power on? Power on over here. We can select a custom message when it boots up. So I like to just do my name and call sign. We'll put that in here. Great, there we go. Now it'll show that up when it turns on. And if we really wanted to, we could actually add a custom image to it as well. So the standby background picture, we could just change that to custom 1. And then if we go up to tool, we can do a standby BK picture 1 and open the image. Now I have one here on the desktop, there we go. We'll open this up. Great, and then just write that to the radio. Write data completed. Awesome, so we have that written there. Okay, so we do need to add our channels to our zone. So go ahead and click on zone. Now zones are a great way to organize your channels. So you can add different channels to different zones, and that way once you add a lot to this radio, you can keep everything separated. Have your local repeaters, and then have your SkyBridge, and have your local weather channels, everything like that, and keep it organized. But we do have to remember to add our channels to a zone, or else we won't be able to use them at all. So we'll open up zone 1, and we can just utilize this for now. So just go ahead and add your channels over, and click OK. Now at this point, we are pretty much ready to go, but there is one more thing we want to do. We want to actually add our digital contact list. So open up a web browser. So we have a web browser here. Now the website I typically use for this is kf5iw, so kf5iw.com, but you can use a variety of different places to get the digital contact list. Just make sure it's made for the AnyTone. So we'll scroll down here, digital contact list download, perfect. Okay, so here is the list. So we'll just go ahead and get the all version, and we'll download that to the desktop. I believe it came in a zip folder, so we will unzip this here real quick. Just right click on it, and then extract all. Awesome, there we have it. So now we can go back over to the CPS and click on Tool, Import, okay, and then Digital Contact List. Then go ahead and click on this Contacts, and then click on that file and open. Now at this point you want to import those, so we'll click on the Import button and wait for them to import. Awesome, so we have our digital contact list in the CPS. So now go ahead and select your COM port, and then click this button to the right of it and write to radio. So we want to select both the digital contact list and the other data. And we'll just give this a few minutes and it's going to write that to the radio. Now don't be concerned if you write the entire contact list. It can take probably 5 to 7 minutes. Now if you just write the other data, it'll be almost instant. So if you're importing the contact list, go ahead and select that. But if you only just want to make a few changes that don't involve the contact list, make sure you uncheck that so it goes a lot faster. Awesome, so the write data has been completed, so now we can go over to the radio and check it out. So how cool is that? So now we have our custom screen on the radio. We can see our zone 1 there in the Missouri talk group. Now if you rotate this knob on top, we're going to switch to different zones or different talk groups. So there's the parrot. Let's try it out real quick. And just to be sure that we're not actually using the SkyBridge for this. This is purely the local repeater that's just up the road here. Now sometimes we have trouble hitting it from right here, but if I move over here closer to the window in the studio, we can hopefully hit that repeater. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. So we have the parrot keyed up here. Testing, 1, 2, 3. This is W3AMG trying out the local repeater.
MG trying out the local repeater.
There we go. How cool is that? So it is up and running and it is working. So we've talked to the parrot. Now if we wanted to, we can X out of this real quick. We could go over to the Missouri talk group, talk on there. And then if we wanted to change talk groups, you would simply key up the disconnect. Now to use the disconnect talk group, You simply just key it up, just like any other talk group, for a second, and then let go, and it will come back with a message that says not linked. Now, if you hear that message, that means you have been successful in disconnecting from a talk group. So there you have it. We just showed you how to connect your radio to a local repeater as well as a SkyBridge hotspot. Now, if you don't have time to learn how to program everything, or you just want the convenience of someone doing it for you, we actually offer a plug-and-play package where we'll set up the SkyBridge and the radio to work together with everything you need to get on the air in no time. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description, or give us a call, 816-532-8451, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that or get you some more information. Now, your radio should be good to go. For any questions about compatibility or various technical problems, feel free to submit a support ticket on our support site, link in the description. Our tech team is always happy to help you succeed. Thanks again for watching. My name is Cody W3AMG 73.